So it says in the Parsha, Daber el b'nei Yisrael v'amarta lehem ki tavo el ha'aretz asher ani noten lachem u'ktzartem et ktsira ve'hevetem Omer. So we're right now in the middle of Sfiras Omer, and the psukim that discuss Sfiras Omer are in Parashat EMOR. It says over here that you'll bring an Omer, which is a measure of grain, Reshit Ketzirchem, the first of your offering. And then, of course, Pasuk says a few sentences later, Sfartim Lachem Machar Shabbos. You'll start counting on the day after Shabbat. Rashi tells us Shabbat does not mean Shabbat, it means Yom Tov. The Gemara discusses why the Torah sees fit to refer to Yom Tov as Shabbat. You count for 49 days, 7 weeks, and then on the 50th day, V'hikravtem mincha chadasha Hashem. You bring a new mincha, a new meal offering to Hashem. Chazal tell us that the korban that's brought on the second day of Pesach, which is known, of course, as the korban Omer, is a barley offering. It's an offering of the first barley crop that grew for the new year. And 7 weeks later, you bring a wheat offering. You bring 2 breads that are made from wheat. And the Gemara says, what's the significance of bringing a barley offering in the beginning of Sfira and bringing a wheat offering at the end of Sfira? Chazal tell us that barley is considered machal be'ema. It's considered animal food. And as if to say that when we left Egypt, we're on the level of an animal, in the sense that we were on the 49th level of Tumah. We were barely recognizable as the chosen people, as godly individuals, human beings. And it was only through the step-by-step growth that they achieved over the 49 days that at the end of the 49 days, they were able to stand figuratively, not literally, on the top of the mountain as human beings that would then eat bread of wheat. So the sphere is a process. The time from Pesach, when we left Egypt, until we stood at the mountain receiving the Torah, was a process of going from the lowest of the lows, almost to the degree that we were animals. We were coarse like animals. We were not refined like barley. And after 49 days of growing and climbing one level after another, we wound up as being as close to perfection as a human being could attain. And therefore we were able to partake of wheat, which is human food, and we were able to receive the Torah. That's the idea, that it's a process from Pesach to Shavuot, every day growing a little bit higher, becoming more godly every single day. But I'd just like to share very quickly that there is a beautiful explanation, a drush from the Sachat Shavarav, from the Shem Mishmul, that says another idea that you see from here. Like, what does this tell us as well about everyday life? It says that there's an idea that sometimes we might feel like we're in a hole, like we're in a funk, like you call it a depression, call it a mini depression. We're not feeling the Yiddishkeit. We're not feeling the love. We don't feel like getting up in the morning. We don't feel like putting on tefillin. We're very uninspired, going through the motions. That is also symbolized by the life of an animal. An animal doesn't have aspirations. An animal goes through the motions every day. It eats, it goes to the bathroom, it drinks, it urinates, etc. It basically exists. It exists day in and day out. So that's sort of like a person. What does it mean when a person sometimes feels like he's on the level of an animal? It means he's uninspired. So when a person feels like a mini depression and he feels like, I don't know, I'm just like, my mind is unsettled. I don't feel inspired. I don't have that spark of life. I don't feel that enthusiasm, not for life, not for Yiddishkeit, not for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they say that that's normal, right? People have their ups and downs. Sometimes you feel like you're in the mood. Sometimes you're not in the mood. But if you feel like you're in a particular funk, like that, it's not going. Like you feel like you're in a hole. You're in a hole. You're in a rut. Almost like an animal. We learn over here. It says, remember Machar Shabbos. Remember. That's the Mitzrayim attitude. That you're in Mitzrayim. You're shackled by depressions. Remember, Mimachar Shabbos. Start counting. A Jew could always climb out of whatever funk he's in, because it's Mimachar Shabbos. We're out of Mitzrayim already. And therefore, we were given the tools to be able to climb. Just like we climbed back then, literally, from the 49th level of Tumah, from the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs, sometimes maybe we don't experience the low of the lows today, but we experience a down. we should remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the tools, just like back then. We succeeded in climbing that mountain so that after 49 days, we didn't feel like animals. We felt like human beings that were on the top of the world, that are achieving amazing things. So too today. If I'm down today, if I'm feeling blue over the last day, over the last week, over the last month, we could always climb out of it. We have the capability to climb out. And that's what Sefiras Omer teaches us. How do you climb out? You don't jump out in one day. Every day, a little step. Try to find a little inspiration. Try to put on the tefillin if you don't feel like it. Every day you try a little bit better. And hopefully at the end of the day, if a person found himself in a hole, at the end of the day, after slow and steady growth, he'll find himself back on top of the mountain where every God-fearing Jew belongs, so that he could connect to Hashem with simcha and with productivity.